Hey, how's it going, boys? What is up? So it's back once again for yet another continuation of the part 2 of the is this weapon good or not? Because we only did 3 parts on the previous time. Now we're gonna do the remaining 3. Okay, so without further ado, just want to point out that I'm only gonna mention whether is the weapon is good to have or not, whether is it maybe it's just like really garbage or not, whether is it like worth to keep, is it worth to like throw away or whatever, all that kind of stuff. I'm only gonna go through like the farmable ones, the farmable weapons and gacha weapons. I'm not really gonna go too in depth on the class weapon, seraphic, opus, all that stuff, because that is like to be given. It's like you're definitely gonna get them anyway. There's no point of me telling you what that is. Okay. Okay, so let's jump right in. Okay, Magna 1 for... Yeah, we are doing win right now, by the way. if you didn't read the title already. Okay, so for win, there's Magna 1. There's out of this is only there's 2 that is somewhat notable at least. This one used to be pretty damn strong back in the day, but even right now I think it's still kind of good to have, but it's not really as useful as before anymore. You can still probably keep at least 1 or 2 copies of it for ULB, that is. The other one is probably just this one. Probably you even want maybe at least 2 copies of this one for main hand purposes, or you can even fit it into your grid if you are just trying to get your how do I say this, like if you're planning to like burst or whatever. Having fists in there with like stamina AX in it is not too bad. It's honestly not too bad, so you can probably do that. This 2 you can probably ignore, obviously. Yeah, these 2 you can just technically ignore. You don't really have to worry about them too much. Maybe sometimes you can probably just keep it, you know, because you know sometimes like if you do not have enough HP and you do not have like a certain Magna 2.5 weapon, you can technically use this, but most of the time you don't really need it. Okay, then we have Garuda. So Garuda is mostly for Primal stuff. This one I think is okay, I guess, for main hand purposes, but I don't think you really need that. This one is still not too bad to have, because now we also have AX for this weapon tier. So technically it's kind of nice to have it. It's kind of nice to have it because you can kind of have like stamina and whatnot on it, right? So it's pretty good. And plus people are still kind of using this just for Zeph stuff, like with the, you know, with the potatoes weapon and cat's weapon kind of thing. So it just adds more weapon skills. It allows to have to get the potatoes thing, right? Because potato you need like what, 15 weapon skills, something. Yeah, so it's not so bad to have, because you know we have the AX skills plus this is like you can get quite a bit, so it's not too bad to have. All right, next we have Magna 2. Okay, so Magna 2 for win is probably one of the better ones as well. So for obvious reasons, you definitely want the harp, which is this one, this harp. You definitely want the harp because it has stamina and it has crit. It's pretty good. So the other ones you probably want to get as well is the spoon, which is this thing. I mean, it looks like a spoon, I guess that's why everyone's calling it. So this is the one that you definitely want to have when it comes to like the higher tier raids, because this gives you a lot of HP and it also gives you crit as well, so it's pretty handy. Yes, you probably want to have at least 2 to 3 of these. Is probably safe. Same goes for this. I think 3 of these is probably safe as well if you want, but I think nowadays you can probably make do with either 1 or 2 anyway. It's not really that big of a deal, but if you want to, you can just keep 3 anyway. The spear and the katana is kind of pointless. You can kind of just reduce them. Yeah, and then for this Nataku spear thing, it's kind of good to have at least 1 of them. This is also very similar to the likes of like water as well, because you know water has like the bow, right? Wait, is it in here? No, it's not in here. The it's kind of that spear. Oops, that spear is very similar to the likes of like the granny's bow. This one. It has a lot of raw damage, and it's pretty handy because you can also get, if I recall correctly, you can also get AX skills on it as well. So it's quite nice. So if you get like stamina or whatever, it's even better too. Yeah, so you definitely want to try to get that if you can, but you only need one anyway. I don't think you need the Primal one. You could probably get Primal as well anyway, but you definitely want at least one of these, especially if you're a Magna. It helps out a lot when it comes to like in your burst comms or in your OTK setups or all those kind of stuff. It definitely is pretty handy. The rest is the same. You can just ignore the rest. Okay, then the next one is Malice. This one I think you only use it for memes, I guess. Nowadays I don't think I've seen people really use that. I mean, you can use that as a main hand too, I suppose. A lot of times when it comes to like all these kind of weapons, having just one is always nice to have anyway. You know, just so you can have you know, a main hand to fuck around with. Yeah. All right. Where's the other one? Is there any other wind weapon somewhere? Is there any other wind weapon? No, there isn't. Okay. Then we have the other good one, which is the dragon weapon. So the wind dragon katana thing, the beak, is very important to have as well when it comes to skill damage, because this has supplemental, right? For those who doesn't know, it has very good supplemental, and if you're using a lot of like you know, similar like if you have leech or you know those kind of characters, you definitely want to have beaks because it gives you crazy supplemental, and you definitely only want 2 of them. There's no reason for you to go more than 2 for the most part, just because that the only thing you get out of the having more than 2 is I think people were just using it for like akaram stuff, like the normal akaram stuff, but I don't think you really need that these days. But yeah, for the most part you only use 2 anyway. But yeah, so I just want to remind that it's only 2. You don't really have to go more than 2. Yep, very strong. Outside of like skill oriented setups, you technically don't really need to use that, but yeah, just want to mention that again. Okay, then we have yes, the infamous Siete. I remember. Yes, the Siete sword. So we were shitting a lot on this in the beginning. Technically, I still am shitting on it. But there is a lot of homework these days that people are running this on other elements. Yeah, so I guess if you can farm Siete, by all means, I suppose, you can actually just get, I don't know, I think the max I've seen people use was like 5 or something. Was it 6? I don't know. In other words, just get as many as you can, because you're probably if you're farming sands anyway, might as well just keep getting it anyway. Alright, so I think that's it for the raid list. Now we're gonna go on into wiki. Oh yeah, actually I didn't totally forgot about Ini Lemao. I forgot about Ini. Let's go back again. I didn't check on Enid. I'm not sure why. Enid is also pretty okay, I think. The axe is pretty damn good, especially. The axe is pretty good because he has the progression and he has like the supplemental based on how high your HP is or something. So it's actually pretty nice. I think a lot of times when you're Magna, you can just use like 2 of them around there. 2 axes is pretty good. This one you technically just use that as like a main hand kind of thing. Most of the time you technically don't really need this, but if you want, you can just get 1, or you can just grab 2 if you want. But yeah, so axes is probably the important one, but there, I think I remember I seen some using 3 axes, but I think that's like really old, so 2 should be fine. Yeah, I think you're fine with just 2. Alright, and then for the Xeno stuff, you definitely want 1 of each. You know, the Xeno stuff is definitely good as well, because the spear, once you max that out, if I recall correctly, it dispels twice, so it's pretty good. There, you can remove 2 buffs, so you can get 2 dispels. It is pretty handy, especially when you can I don't know, get pretty good AX. I'm not even sure you can get good AX skills anymore. The fist is alright. You can use that as a main hand kind of thing for your wrestler or whatever if you want to. Other than that, you technically don't really need multiples of this as well. You can just ignore it. Just having one of each usually is the way to go anyway, so it's fine. Alright, now for the... okay. Now let's go one by one again. So this is the innate weapon that I mentioned earlier. This is the OG Metara. I think you can use that as a main hand if you want to, because he has delay kind of thing and meme stuff, but other than that you can just typically ignore it. This is the event weapon, you can ignore it. This is also the event weapon, I think. Is it an event weapon? Yes, it is. You can ignore that too. And then okay, ignore that. This one I already mentioned. This is the Rise of the Beast Harp. You can typically keep one of these because as you can see, this gives you extra EXP. So this is good when you want to, like, you can put this in your grid for like sliming purposes, or you want to level up your characters faster, you know, that kind of thing. When you're trying to grind characters, this is pretty nice to have in your grid. So I don't think it stacks, so just having one is already more than enough. And then for this one, if I recall correctly, people were using it in the past for OTK Ogi stuff, because this is the Wind Vira's weapon, and then it gives you this too stuff. So it's pretty nice to have. So it's like, it's kind of nice if you're somewhat on the weaker side, and then if you also have like say for example, if you have Grand Potato, you know, like Charlotta, because she gives you like full meter even though you're able to what's that, use like normal summons and shit. So this kind of helps out if you have that. Just I feel like it's worth pointing out. Okay, this is the class weapon you can ignore. Xeno you can ignore. Militis weapons, once again, you should not ever reduce any one of them, because most likely in future it's probably gonna get better, because now it's only max limit break. There's no upgrades to it yet. It's probably gonna get much stronger later on down the line. It's okay. And not to mention, if you're also wondering if you should just combine it, you can just combine it. I think it's fine, because you're gonna eventually be sitting with a lot of them if you're farming sandbox anyway. So class weapon you can ignore. Adma you can ignore everything. And then this is Sutera. Yeah, Sutera. What does this do? Nothing. You can ignore it. This one you can ignore, class weapon. This is Summer Korwa, right? Does this even do anything? No, not really. You can ignore it. This one is an event weapon you can ignore, class weapon you can ignore. This one, I don't remember what the hell is this. I think this is an event weapon. No, it's Randall's weapon. What does it do? Seems kind of whatever. Yeah, seems kind of what. I mean, it's okay. It looks okay. I mean, because it's like, this is more or less like an Ogi weapon, right? This is like an Ogi weapon with a little spicing on top because you have extra skill cap or whatever. So if you're like highly focused on Ogi stuff and you want a little bit of skill damage, so it's okay. But I think this is mostly for Primal anyway. Yeah. And then we have Mumu. We have Katura. What does it do? Shit. All right, can ignore it. And then this one is someone's weapon. I don't remember as well. Is this? Oh yes, he's shit. Okay, ignore. This is Summer Eustace. Yeah, shit. Wait. I mean, it's kind of like a garrison weapon, but if you really want a garrison weapon, I think you can just use what's that, Garuda's bow? Because technically the Garuda's bow is also a garrison as well, if you didn't know that. It's pretty nice. And then this is Yingwei. This is exactly the same as the one before, but there's no full limit break yet, so you can typically ignore that for now. This one is whatever. This one is shit as well, I think. So she is weapon. Yeah, it's pretty shit. No full limit break yet. Ignore. Oh yeah, so I guess before I proceed as well, I probably should mention that for the most part, a lot of times when it comes to weapons that does not have full limit break yet, I do suggest you to just keep them first. And then maybe later on when they do get a full limit break upgrade, it could be a lot better. I don't think you should reduce anything that has no full limit break upgrades just yet, because they're definitely going to add more stuff in in, I don't know, whenever they feel like doing, I guess. A lot of times these weapons tend to get better whenever they have full limit break anyway. So like, say for example, like the like the garrison weapons we saw earlier, it probably could be better later on. We don't know. So yeah, just a little pointer. Okay, whose weapon is this? Is this event weapon? I think this is an event weapon. Yeah, so ignore that. And then we have Grand Potato's weapon. Wow. So this is kind of like similar as like the previous other weapons, like for like Luo's weapon, Percival's weapon, Wamdoose's weapon. It's like that kind of shit, right? It's the same. But only difference is that this one is kind of annoying as well to get, because you need 15 or more weapon skill types. So basically this is like one skill type. This one weapon skill type. This is another weapon skill type kind of thing. So you need a total of 15. So the easiest way to tell, you can just basically just go into your character party settings. If you want to check, you can just click on your what's that? On your, where the fuck? Oh yeah, here. You just click on this boosting. So this basically tells you how many weapon skills you have on your MC, and then you can also click on this on your characters. So you basically want to have at least a minimum of 15 and above whenever you use that. It's a little bit, I would say it's a little bit annoying to do it on Magna, but if I recall correctly, it's somewhat possible to do it. But I don't really suggest you to run this if you're Magna anyway. It's just better off if you just run this kind of weapon in Primal instead. And then for how many you need, I think the most you probably want to go with is probably just 3 anyway. You can kind of run with 2, but it's better if you just want to go with 3 anyway, if you want to go all in kind of shit. Next we have, this is an event weapon, I think. Right? Yeah. Ignore that. I don't remember who this is. Is this an event weapon as well? Oh, it's Henriette's weapon. What does it do? Wow, absolute shit. Alright, just ignore that. I think you can reduce that too. Because he has like multi-element and shit, and then he has debuff success rate. Like, what the hell? And then this one I think I already mentioned. This one, I think this is a really good main hand, because this is a Halloween Veins weapon. This one is also really good because you get enmity and then you have supplemental thingy. This one, I think I remember people was just running it as a main hand, or even I do recall people do run this in their grid even back. Even right now, people are still somewhat using it in a way, because it's still pretty fast anyway for like the proto farming in with wrestler or whatever. With this, it's still pretty freaking fast. Next we have is this UL's weapon? Yeah, Summer UL. Shit, you can ignore. Is this event weapon? I think this is an event weapon. Wait, no, Selphira's weapon. It looks ass. No full limit break yet though. Alright, this one you can ignore. This one is event weapon. Proving ground weapons is definitely nice to have as well. I think this is one of the better ones. Excuse me. This one is the skill camp one for win. I mean, you can't go wrong with having one of each, obviously. The other one is mostly for Ogi oriented, because it gives you a chain burst cap kind of thing, and it's also pretty nice to go as a main hand purpose kind of thing. This one is just, I feel like most of this one in particular is mostly being used in your grid instead rather than main hand, but it's actually not bad to use as a main hand, because you can do extra nuke, you get extra meter kind of shit, and then you get more out of it if you awaken, I guess. So it's pretty good. This one, this is what's the name again? Scat something. This one looks pretty shit. Just ignore, I guess, for now. This is Helesa's weapon. It's pretty shit. Ignore. This is class weapon. You can ignore. I think this is an event weapon. I don't really recognize a lot of win stuff, huh? This is Show's weapon. I think the people are still using this because it's still pretty damn good until today. Yep. So this one, they usually pair this weapon with the likes of the Halloween Veins weapon, because you basically have multiple of this, and you already have like enmity maxed out kind of shit. So it's pretty nice to have. So if you're running Zap or whatever, you definitely want that. I'm not sure if this is still going to be like the thing to go for whenever Guild War is coming. Probably is going to be changed. We're not sure about that. It probably could be changed, but like, yeah, I don't think it's really a good idea to get into that right now, because it's most likely going to be changed in future when, you know, especially because they always like to put, whenever Guild War comes by, they probably will add some different stuff and give some extra shit for the said element, despite the fact that Win already has like the you know, like the Grand Potatoes weapon, and then we have PNS as well. PNS is the Grand Cat's weapon, which I'll get to shortly, right? So we already have all those stuff. Most likely they'll probably just do something new. I don't know. We'll see, I guess. Class weapon you can ignore. This is, I have no idea what the fuck is this. Florence? Oh, this is OG Florence. Okay, you can ignore. This is Yoda's weapon or something. I really don't recognize a lot of Win stuff. Oh, Azusa's weapon. It's okay. I think you can. This is kind of like a decent budget type of weapon that you can use for crit stuff. So it's not too bad. Yeah, it's okay. What's this? This is like an Ogi weapon. Alaya. Oh, no full limit break yet. Looks pretty shit. Ignore. Draconic, once again, is definitely nice to have a Draconic if you want to go a little bit more on the defensive side, especially when it comes to like the higher end raids. If you do not have enough sustained, Draconic helps out a lot because it gives quite a hefty amount, which is I think 30% elemental damage reduction kind of thing. So it's pretty darn helpful. Especially like, say for example, if you're still in Magna and you want to farm Siegfried, for example, this definitely helps because I already tested it before in the past with that kind of grid. It still does relatively well. It definitely doesn't do as high as my current setup right now, but it's still very, very safe. You're taking like way lesser damage, but do keep in mind that if you're planning to use Draconic weapon and if you're doing like Siegfried or whatever, I don't suggest you to run together with the Judgment's weapon, because if I recall correctly, it doesn't stack. Because they're technically both the same mod anyway. Because they're both like 30% earth damage reduction kind of thing. So yeah. This one is Amira's weapon, because this is the... yeah, Amira's weapon. Yeah, it's pretty shit. I don't think you really need this at all. And it's already full limit break too, so I don't think you need that. You can probably reduce that if you want, because it's katana stones, and this doesn't come by that often. This one you can ignore. This one is summer sheep, I think. Yeah, summer sheep is okay, I think. Yeah, I think this one is okay because you can get extra supplemental on your autos. So I guess you can kinda, in a way, just leave this in if you want to go like your... What's that? Your restless setup or whatever shit. This kinda helps out a little bit. I don't think it's like a must-have though. Oh, this one. Grand Naru's weapon. So Grand Naru's weapon is mostly crit oriented. It's very, very heavily reliant on crit, as you can see. Because this is a big 2 crit, which is... You don't really see that often too. And you get extra supplemental crit hit as well. So when it comes to off-element stuff, because I don't think wind really has like what... You know, like how water or earth has, where it allows them to really swap the element switch into, you know, like say like Summer Clarice, for example, or Grand Thunderfawn. The only person that really does this is really Naru himself, I feel like. There's not really like there's not really like the Win. I don't think Win has like it just swaps the entire team kind of thing, because I think only Naru is the only one that has it. Like if you press her first skill, she gets the, you know, this thing, right? I think she's the only one that has this at the moment for Win. So yeah, this one doesn't really work as much. Yeah, it's still one character though, right? It's a one character thing. It's not like Summer, like Grand Thunderfawn and Summer Clarice, where it just applies to the whole team, right? Doesn't do that, unfortunately. So most of the time, when it comes to her weapon, I think one is already more than enough. Having one of her weapon is more than enough. It used to be the case where you would want multiple of this in the past, but with the whole changes with the PNS and the Grand Charlotta's weapon, I don't think you need more than one these days. I might be wrong on that, but it does feel like it, if I recall correctly. From what I've seen, the people sharing homework as well, I don't think people really run more than one of these. Yeah. This one is what's her name again? Yeah, Shion's weapon. It's okay. I mean, it's garrison, and then you get a lot of HP, and you get supplemental on skill damage. This one is okay. I don't think a lot of people will really run this, but it's okay. It's one of those okay weapons. I don't think you want to reduce that either way. This is the OG cat, I think. No full limit break yet, so it's pretty shit. This one, I think I already explained it. Excalibur, I'm gonna ignore it. This is the very first EXO series, which is basically the one-up version of Xeno, right? So moving forward, this one, I think a lot of people were saying that you can technically run 2 of these, but honestly, when it comes to like this, when I was doing it at that time, I think just having 1 is already more enough. I don't think you really need like, yeah, I don't think you really need multiple of these anyway, so just having 1 of these is already more than enough. The Awakening, you can choose whatever you want, is up to you. This one is who? Oh, this is event weapon, you can ignore. Event weapon as well, you can ignore. This one, class weapon, ignore. Guild War weapon, you can ignore. This one is I think event weapon as well. Yes, you can ignore. Guild War weapon, you can ignore. Guild War Goemon weapon, you can ignore. This one is Ultimate Friday's weapon, I think. Yeah, Ultimate Friday. Wow, look at this, so good. No, actually, it's not. It's pretty shit. It's pretty shit. This one is quite recent, I think. Who is she? Yeah, this fucking illegal character's weapon. Yeah, you can ignore this for now. You probably have to wait until you get full limit break to see any form of like new stuff anyway. Yeah. This one is a very, very old Idol Master, the male Idol Masters, yeah, the side M shit. It's very, very freaking old. They don't even know what is the release date of this. Yeah, you can typically ignore that as well. This is an event weapon as well, I think. Yep. This is the Gachapin's weapon. Yep. This is from the event as well. You can. I remember people were using this as like the. I remember people were using this just for the memes as well. At one point, because this also gives you like it's kind of whatever. You can just ignore it, to be honest. You can ignore that. This one is this Sen's weapon? Oh yes, it is. No full limit break yet. Ignore. This is Enyo's weapon. I think it's decent. Yeah, this one is pretty decent as well. It's okay. You can kind of just use this for skill cap and stuff, which you can also just use that as main hand because you get extra damage cap. Sure, why not? You can also get drain. Sure, why not, right? So it's alright, and it's a spear. So if you don't, I mean, most of the time spear, I tend to just use Xeno anyway for main hand. But this one is okay. You can just kind of use this as a main hand as well. This is the Stan and Eliza or some shit, I think. Yeah. You can just typically ignore this as well because there's no full limit break yet. This one is a class weapon, I think. Yeah, is it? Is it a class weapon? Yes, it is a class weapon. I don't remember what this is. I have no idea what this is. Oh, Freya's weapon. Yeah, you can ignore this as well. I don't think you need that. Class weapon. This one is whatever. You can ignore that. This one is side story weapon, event weapon. This one I think I already mentioned is. This one is Petra's weapon. And even though it has this, I think you can just reduce it though. It looks pretty shit. This one is also another character's weapon. I forgotten who. Nice. Another one with this. Damn, there's a lot of wind weapon with this, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, it's crit, sure. I mean, it's kind of whatever, to be honest. You can typically ignore that. This one is it an event weapon? Oh no, it's not. Lancelot win. Yeah, you can ignore this as well. This one, class weapon, you can ignore. Class weapon, glow moon weapon. I've already called this out already. I mentioned the Militaris already. And then Astral weapons. Once again, for Astral weapons, it's always going to be nice to have, especially when you're like, you know, in the early game progressing, trying to get into end game kind of thing. For the most part, a lot of times end game you don't really need Astral that much, but I feel like as a newer player, if you're like lower level kind of stuff, Astrals is still going to be helpful no matter what, so it's always nice to have. Yeah, plus I don't think you're allowed to reduce this anyway. Yeah, this is an event weapon, ignore. Class weapon, ignore. Event weapon, ignore. This one is the Christina's weapon. I think you can only get this in the casino. I don't think you want to keep this because it's pretty shit. I don't think that she's going to get full lumen break though. So you can probably just reduce that if you want to as well, if you want. But I did keep mine, I think, for what's that? Collection purposes. This one, class weapon, you can ignore. Is this an event weapon? Oh, it's a Goemon weapon. Man, I don't recognize some of them at all because you don't really see that often. This is an event weapon, right? Yeah. Class weapon, ignore. Class weapon. This one is a very old character's weapon. Yes, the Delafil. She's light, but she get a wind weapon instead, and it's, guess what? It's shit. You can ignore. This one is who? Oh, event weapon, ignore. Class weapon, ignore. Class weapon. This is the Grimnews weapons. I think I already mentioned it. This one is the Bunkle's weapon. Yes, this one is actually not bad to use as a main hand though, because this is farmable. If you didn't know that, yeah, it's a farmable weapon. I wouldn't say it's a bad idea to try to get at least one of this for main hand purposes, because this is not bad. You can kind of get it on MC. It's not so bad to have. You get a multi attack, sure. It's not really that bad for something that is farmable. And then for this, we have Grand Rosetta's weapon, which is Love Eternal. I think this is also one of those things where these days, we used to see a lot of this in the past, right? When like you fit into your grid, you need like multiple of this. But I think these days, once again, with the whole Grand Potatoes weapon, I think one of these is already more than enough. I don't think you really need a lot of these. One is definitely more than enough. It's a pretty decent main hand as well. It's like, I think this is also somewhat similar as like the what's her name? Grand Lucia's weapon as well. Yeah, Grand Lucia's weapon is somewhat in a similar case as well. But I think in terms of like main hand purposes, probably I do prefer Lucia's weapon a little bit more, just because I feel like the buffs feels a little bit more handy rather than you just get multi-attack rather. Because these days multi-attack is, I don't know, multi-attack seems kind of whatever, and you know. But then again, I feel like these days but most likely people might be running maybe more of these because of the awakening and the cage stuff. You know, like it's kind of like similar with you know, like because I think I posted this in the past as well, where people were running like say Parazonium on Dark, you cage that shit, and then people also running like Gambatine, what's that for the extra normal attack cap, you know, that kind of shit. Yeah, so it kind of helps in a way, I feel. Yeah, plus it's a dagger, right? Yeah, it kind of helps because, you know, Grand Cat's dagger is Grand Cat's weapon is a dagger, so it kind of helps out in that regard. But if you're not really too bothered with that, I think just having one is enough. You don't really need too many of these, but I don't think you should like combine it unless you have like a crazy amount of them already. Yeah, I don't think you really want to do that unless you have a lot of them. Yeah. This one is a class weapon you can ignore. This is Valentine Grimney's weapon. Valentine Grimney's weapon is a really good main hand because you get a lot of free extra nukes for MC. Yeah. So I think I mentioned this before, but if you're running like the whole Paladin stuff in like Siegfried, this thing is really good. if you're you're running the whole Paladin stuff in Siegfried, this thing is actually a really strong main hand with just like MC just being able to do a lot of extra damage and stuff. Plus you get extra skill cap too, so it's pretty handy, right? Woo! This one is... What the hell is this? I don't recognize this. Oh, this is a event weapon. Okay, I can ignore. I don't recognize this either. Oh, it's an event weapon too. This one is the innate weapon. I think I already mentioned it. This is a class weapon. This is the Akaram Judgment's weapon. Yeah, you can't really go wrong if you already manage to get this. It's a really handy weapon because that it gives you extra earth damage reduction. So it's kind of like a free draconic in a way. The only downside you have to deal with is basically that you have to take this. So you take 1% of your max HP, I think. Yeah, max HP every turn. It's not really that bad. I think a lot of times when even right now for me, I use that in my Siegfried setup. I have like 60k HP, so 1% is like what, 600 plus HP. It's not really that bad. Yeah. This is who? Oh, this is a class weapon. Class weapon, ignore. This one, go moon, ignore. Why is there no picture for this? This class weapon anyway, you can ignore. This one is class weapon 2, I think. Is this? Wait, what's this? Is this a gold moon or class weapon? Oh, gold moon weapon. Oh. Yeah, you can ignore. This one is event weapon, I think. Event weapon, you can typically ignore as well. This one I already explained it. This one is a class weapon, you can ignore. This one is event weapon, I think. Yes, you can ignore that. This one you can also ignore, I think. Yeah, you can ignore these. You can ignore these. You can ignore these. You can ignore these. This one is quite recent, I think. Sandalphon, Valentine. Do not have full limit break yet, so it's okay. Class weapon you can ignore. Class weapon, Guild War weapon. What the hell is this? What? Is this like defend order? Damn! Holy shit! I don't recognize that at all. Damn, that is some super old weapon, man. Jeez. Okay, class weapon you can ignore. This is Summer Jan's weapon. Yeah, Summer Jan's weapon. Yeah, you can ignore. Who's this? I don't recognize this either. Yugu Win. Yeah, you can typically ignore this for now too. Rise to the Beast weapon, you can only get one of these. It's definitely very helpful to have as well if you're magna, because this is one of the magna weapons that gives you progression, so it's pretty handy. So it's really nice for like what's that, long raids kind of stuff. And if, well, you're magna, obviously it doesn't really work too well if you're not magna. What's this? Whose weapon is this? Oh, this is Grand Cat. Why is it not loading? Dude, let me refresh the damn thing. Not sure why is it not loading. So, Grand Cat's weapon. Alright, so Grand Cat's weapon is the one that is basically a PNS. So, it's like the same thing as like Leech's weapon, you know, any of those tier. It's literally the same thing. You have like the voltage, you have the supplemental, wind ally, what's that? XX element, the allies' damage, and then you get damage cap whenever you full limit break this. So typically, you can actually just run this at 0 stars if you didn't know that. You can run this at 0 stars. The only thing you're missing is basically this, right? It's still usable because this helps out quite a bit already. This thing gives you a lot of extra, you know, damage, you know. And then this one, I think typically a lot, at most you only run like 2, I think, right? Is it only 2? I don't think you really go more than 2, do you? This one? I don't remember seeing people running more than 2. So just 2? Okay. Yeah, so just run, just have 2 at most. You don't really need more than that, because I had myself, whenever I saw like the win guys' homework, those win players showing their homework or whatever, they don't really run more than 2 as well. That's why I was like, I don't think I've seen 3 before. This one is event weapon, you can ignore. This one I think I already mentioned. This I already mentioned. This one is a This one is a campaign event, right? A campaign story, right? Yeah. This is a campaign, technically a campaign story showdown stuff. This is a class weapon you can ignore. Oops, wrong button. I'll refresh again. Okay. Class weapon ignore. This one is Rise of the Beast weapon. I think this one is one of those ones that it's really, really bad. I think there's some of the other ones, the other elements is not so bad, but this is definitely one of the crappy one. Yeah, it's pretty bad. So this is the Rise of the Beast spear, the King Long spear, which you need to get all three in order for you to get the outfit for the King Long outfit or whatever. So once again, like every single one of these tier has like one of them has the damage cap one. So a lot of times if you really just want one of them, getting the damage cap one is probably something that you want to do anyway. Unless you want to get the outfit, then you just get all three anyway. Yeah. And then this one is, I think, one of the character's weapon. If I don't... Yeah, Nectar. It's shit. You can ignore. Is this an event weapon? Oh, Meteon. No. No full limit break. You can ignore it. It's okay. And then this one is Urias, I think. This one I recognize. Yeah, I'm actually surprised that he doesn't have full limit break yet on his weapon. Huh, okay. Alright, so Reunion is Grand Licia's weapon. So yeah, once again, this is very similar to the likes of Love Eternal. The only difference is that this Love Eternal has like the multi-attack. I think this one has Majesty instead. So this one is the one where if you want to have a little bit more HP. The only the difference is that this thing has like different awakenings, as you can see at the bottom of the screen. You have different awakenings compared to Love Eternal. So it's like if you want to add like cages or whatever shit, they have different functions. So this one is like more Ogi oriented, while Love Eternal is more onto like skill stuff if you want extra cap and shit, if I recall correctly, isn't it? But yeah, so for example, that's why I think I mentioned before, like I do prefer the Ogi, like for main hand purposes for Reunion versus the likes of Love Eternal. Plus you get extra HP, so why not? Yeah, I mean, I don't think a lot of people really use a lot of this right now anyway. This one I feel like a lot of times you just use this for main hand anyway. I don't think you really want to go like put multiple of this. Because yeah, I don't really see a lot of people really use this as well, you know. Because a lot of times I myself as well, I just use this just for main hand anyway. It's pretty nice compared to Love Eternal, that is. This one is the Gomun weapon, you can ignore. This one class weapon, you can ignore. This one is event weapon, you can ignore. Seraphic is always nice to have, so you're definitely gonna get that anyway. So this one you can ignore. Class weapon, class weapon, class weapon. Rose Queen weapon is pretty nice back then, but not really that much anymore. If you really want stuff like this, it's just better off you just get Draconic weapon anyway, so you can just typically ignore this now. It used to be pretty handy though, but yeah, I don't understand why is it giving different elements. It's kind of funny. This is a class weapon, you can ignore. Class weapon, class weapon. This is the old ass, the OG Sagittarius weapon, where you get like the normal one, not even the Xeno one. So yeah, you can typically ignore this as well. This is a class weapon you can ignore. This is Akaram weapon. Once again, for Akaram weapon, the most you probably want is maybe the one that gives you the crit, which is a sword. Unless if you need a little bit extra, extra sustain, so you want a bit more HP to run in your either in sandbox or like the higher tier raids or whatnot. You can always equip the wait, no, this one doesn't really work in there because this is only for Akaram. Yeah, so if this is mostly just for sandbox stuff. So if you want more HP, just equip the bow. But most of the time, you just go with the sword anyway. And then CAT sword, I already mentioned it earlier. Guild War you can ignore. Oh, 30 Gomun weapon. Yeah, I think you can ignore that as well. Ignore this. Event weapon, you can ignore this. This is definitely someone's weapon, right? Siegfried Yukata. Wow, so bad. Guild War weapon you can ignore. Class weapon you can ignore. Sky Ace. Do people really still run this thing? I mean, it's like, yeah, it's very Ogi oriented, but like, do people really still run this? I guess they only run it for Ogi stuff, right? Because I don't really see a lot of these anymore. I suppose you only run this just for Ogi anyway, right? If you have like you're running a team that is very heavily focused on Ogi, I suppose. But other than that, there's really I don't think there's a need for it. Yeah, I don't know, man. I guess people just run it for like the whole Fandango shit for extras, and then this one is a different skill, I suppose. Yeah, I don't think it's that like insane anymore. People last time was really running this, but yeah, now that you have CAT swords, I don't think you need that too much. I don't think I would suggest you to reduce that anyways. I suggest you to just keep it for now. Yeah. Ignore that. Event weapon you can ignore that. Class weapon you can ignore. This is a Gold Moon weapon, I think. 30 Gold Moon weapon, right? Yes. Somehow I recognize that one. Opus, I don't think you need me to tell you. This one is the Hair Potatoes weapon, I think. Hair Potatoes weapon. Yeah, you can ignore. This one is another Rise of the Beast weapon. So you will equip this if you need a little bit of HP, because this gives you medium HP. Pretty handy. You can only get one of these anyway, so you only run this if you need the extra HP and yeah, medium attack. Why not? This one is Albert, I think. Summer Albert or something. Yeah. Can ignore. This one is whatever. Can ignore. This one is class weapon. You can ignore. This is Teresa's weapon, I think. Yes. You can ignore that too. This one you can. I don't remember who is this. Is this the new guy's weapon? Caro, yeah. Yeah, you can ignore that too because he doesn't have anything. You can ignore this. You can ignore. Can ignore. Same thing as very similar as Judgment as well. This is the Temperance weapon. It's okay to have as well if you want to, get some, all this cool stuff. Yeah, it's like if you have it, you equip it. If you don't have it, it's okay. You can ignore this. Yeah, I think I already mentioned all this. This is the, this is the Tiamat's weapon. Doesn't have full limit break yet, huh? Even though she's already full limit break. Interesting. Yeah. This is Halloween Leech's weapon. I don't think you really need this. It's very similar to the likes of the PNS and like the, those like Wemdu's axes, those kind of weapons, right? Yes, voltage and shit. The only difference is that this one doesn't have like damage cap, and then you have CA. CA damage only, so it's pretty shit as well. I don't think you should reduce that either way, but it's pretty bad. This is the Moringna's weapon, I think. Like the character Moringna. Yeah, it's kind of shit too. Okay, ignore. Xeno's weapon, I think I already mentioned that. You definitely want to keep one of these. This one is Yoda's, I think. Win Yoda's weapon. I think I remember you can actually use this. You can technically use this as a main hand because you don't really have a lot of axes. True. Yeah, you don't really have a lot of axes, and this turn is apparently an axe, when it clearly doesn't look like an axe. Yeah, you can typically also use this if you want to use Viking and stuff. It's not too bad to have. It's not too bad at all. And then this one is is it Birdman? No, Carmelina. It's pretty bad. I'm pretty sure it's very safe to reduce this. It's pretty fucking bad, holy hell. It's so bad. Oh, so bad. Yeah, you can ignore this. You can ignore this. Ultima, you don't need me to explain it to you, so ignore that for now. Ultima, this is wow, this is the Bunkle weapon. So besides the, I think it was like Le Fay, I think. Yeah, so other than Le Fay, you can also get this. This used to be really good, but not anymore. Yeah, I don't think you really run this anymore. Yeah, I don't think you really run that anymore, unfortunately. This one you can ignore. Oh! This used to be like a really good main hand. A lot of people run this as like a gun main hand because it has pretty good perks, right? And then you get this as well. is pretty nice, but I think there's like a much better weapon to run instead of this now because, you know, we have like PNS and shit. I mean, you can still probably keep one of these at least though. It's a still pretty decent weapon. Yeah. Who's this? Oh, it's a class weapon. Okay. You can ignore that. This one is a character's weapon, I'm pretty sure. Alea's weapon. Wow, you can ignore that for now. Event weapon, I'm sure you can ignore that. This one is, I think, event weapon as well. Granblue. I don't remember how many people run this with. I think you can make do with 2. I don't think you run more than 2 these days anyway. Pretty sure 1 or 2 is already more than enough for this one. 3 is like super overkill, I think, for this one. Do people even run that many though? I think most of the time, I think 1 is already more than enough, no, for this one. But I think there are some situations that people do run 2 just for like the extra HP or whatnot. But for the most part, I feel like just 1 is already more than enough. That's what I was thinking. Like, it's kind of hard to put 2 in, isn't it? 3 is like impossible already these days. 1, you can definitely run with 1. 100% you can run 1 very easily. Just that the second one can be a little bit finicky, yeah. But 3 is like, it really does look like 3 is fucking impossible to slot in already. So 1 or 2 is fine. So it's really up to you. Class weapon you can ignore. This one is a event weapon you can ignore. This one is who? Fucking Gawain's weapon. Okay. You can ignore that as well because it's pretty shit. This is the other proving ground weapon. I think I already mentioned it. So if you want, you can make do with just 1, obviously, right? But it's a pretty decent main hand as well if you want to use it, if you want to. This one is another shitty one, I think. Korwa, wow, OG Korwa's weapon. Wow, so bad. Zarwado's weapon, right? This one, yes. So for this weapon, type, right? You definitely would probably want to ignore it for now, like, because it does take you a while to actually get this done anyway. And plus, it's only max limit break right now. There's only level 100. There's no full limit break 150 yet. So a lot of times you can typically just ignore this for now. Most likely, it's probably going to be a lot better whenever you get full limit break. So for now, just sleep on this for now. This is the Xeno. This is the event weapon, and this is UEC's weapon, right? UEC's weapon is shit. Yep. It's pretty shit. And that's the end. Wow. And that's the end. Wow, this is a lot longer than I thought. Wow, I felt like I covered more stuff with Win for some reason. But yeah, I guess that's it. We went through every single weapon for Win. So yeah. That's it for now. Thanks for watching. If you find this helpful, I would appreciate if you like and subscribe and share and all that good stuff. And then on to the next part, which is light.